I'm gonna be rich from day trading. I don't know when, but I know it's gonna happen. And this is week number 30 of documenting my whole journey online to getting my first payout. And if you're new to this, make sure you check my whole series right here and follow my socials down in the description below. Here's a recap of my whole journey so far, and here's a recap of last week. Last week, week number 29, we ended up blowing one account and then getting another account, basically fresh account. And now we in a new week with a fresh account, so this should be a simple couple trades and pass, but we're gonna try to take it slow and let's just see how it go, man. Here's how we took two losses today. And the first trade we took was a terrible trade, but the second trade we took, it wasn't the worst trade, and yeah. But honestly, my bias today was bullish. We did have some lows down here. Price swept session lows right here, and then it displaced to the upside a little bit, and then inverse this 1 minute gap. And then boom, off of these wicks down here, rejected off of these wicks down here. And I was waiting for the change in the state right here, but I didn't get it. And I entered way too early before the candle could even close because it was up here. And then the last second, it just boom. And I entered up here before it even closed. And that was the problem. I should have waited for it to close because if I would have waited for it to close, it wouldn't have been a change of state and I would have never entered. But yeah, so I definitely should have waited on that, and we ended up losing that because I didn't wait and because I was impatient. And yeah, so we get stopped out. Price sweeps this other low, comes out higher. And honestly, this should have been a trade right here off of this huge displacement. But I just wanted to wait for a bigger retracement, honestly. So I waited. And then off of this inverse, off of this 1 minute inverse, I entered right here on this candle and price went up into my profits a little bit and then consolidated and stopped me out. Honestly, this trade was not a bad trade at all. This is a trade I should have waited for. Even though this trade lost, this was a good trade in my eyes, even though it lost. But this trade was terrible. I should have never took that. So yeah. Here's how I ended up blowing my account today. So we took a total of two trades, which should have been one trade. This was our original trade that we should have took right here and then target and lows. Even though this didn't play out, accidentally hit a buy order instead of a sell order on this candle closure right here. So as price went into profits, it was red. So I was like, dang. And I ended up closing down here because I didn't want it to go all the way down. Yeah. But if we would have held, we would have had got break even at least. But yeah, I just got to pay more attention on that. And I'm not mad at that. Even though the trade didn't play out, I'm not really mad at it at all. Then we entered this second trade because I still had conviction that price was going to go down. So I entered off price retesting this 1 minute for value gap and then breaking below. Even though it didn't inverse, it just had a strong bearish candle closure and I entered off of that. So I entered and then price boom stops me out. Soon as it stopped me out, it goes up one or two more candles and then boom all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. So I knew my bias was right. I knew my bias for the day was right. I just maybe I should have had a wider stop loss, but I couldn't on this trade because I didn't have much drawdown to go with because I lost this trade right here. So I'm not mad at today. At least my bias was correct. I just need to work on my entries, and I guess I just need to back test more to work on bettering my entries and bettering my stop loss placements. But here's how we ended up going break even today when it should have been an easy dub. But my bias coming in was bearish. Honestly, my bias was bearish, and I wanted price to continue lower because we was in like a slight little downtrend. I ain't gonna lie to you, but we was reactive and we didn't have our bias set in stone, like we only taking shorts, we reactive with it. So when market open, I could see prices dump, sweep liquidity to the downside, almost hit this 30-minute gap, and then continue higher. And then once it entered a 15-minute gap, it displaced lower. I was thinking, I don't know if it wants to go higher. I don't know if it wants to go lower. So I was just still kind of like, I'm just gonna be patient. I'm gonna see what price do. And then price reswept this low, respected OTE right here, and then came above and inversed this gap right here. And once it did that, I was like, okay, it definitely is going up from here. So I entered, put my stop below this low, and then targeting this high right here. And honestly, this was a great, phenomenal A plus trade, but I went break even right on this candle because I didn't like how price was moving. It just wasn't moving for enough volume for me. It just kept wicking up and it was like no good volume for me. So I got scared that price was just gonna go down and stop me out when I could just get out of break even. So I just got out of break even. As soon as we get break even, price boom to TP instantly. I'm like, yeah. But it's like I won't mad at it though. I ain't gonna lie. I won't mad at myself. It just taught me like I gotta put more trust in my strategy instead stop letting my emotions get in the way. But not a bad day for real. At least we didn't lose, but we gotta stop going break even so early. Here's how we ended up taking three trades today, two losses and one break even. And market open, right? And honestly, my bias coming in was bullish. I wanted price to reach into this 15-minute gap and then bounce off this low and then continue higher. But we can see prices dump down, dump down, dump down, dump down. So I was like, okay, let me try to look for shorts and just continuation, right? So price reached up into this reached up into this 1 minute gap, and then it inversed another 1 minute gap, and we had to change the state. So I entered right here, and it's targeting previous lower day, but I wasn't really sure if price wanted to go to previous lower day, and that's why I wanted price to reach this Asia lows right here, and then I would have went break even to just forget about all my risks. So that was my trade idea coming in, but we ended up getting stopped out. Price doesn't take this low. Then we re-enter we re-enter our trade right here when price goes up and stops us out. One candle later, strong bearish candle. We enter again, and then we just had that same idea. But price ended up sweeping this low, and we ended up going break even when it swept the low, and we ended up getting stopped at break even. So I know that wasn't an A plus. These two trades wasn't an A plus setup, but it's more like a conviction or like I just know price is going to go down, so I just you feel me. It's not really. It's like more discretion trade than an A plus system trade. And maybe I shouldn't have taken that, but the other trade I took, um, as soon as we get stopped out at break even, price boom goes down to OTE, right? And it rejects to the upside, changes the state, and inverses 1 minute gap. So I enter up here, and I had a tight stop loss. And honestly, my stop loss should have been below this protected low, and it wasn't. It was just too tight, and I was just targeting this 15-minute gap up here, and we ended up getting stopped out. And when we get stopped out, price boom, go up to our TP. So I was like, okay, I wasn't really mad at myself, but I was like, okay, I got to do better on my stop loss placements because that's really the problem. Because if I would have had a better stop loss placement on this trade too, we would have boom, we could have gotten that break even on the first trade we took. So only would have had one loss on our day. And if I would have had a better stop loss right here, we would have had no loss and a dub. So I gotta just have better stop loss placements and look at the high time frame going. Here's why we didn't take any trades today. So I wanted price to come down into these gaps and then continue higher to take these session highs. But you can see we took these both highs within 1 minute. So it was like no other no other draws higher because we was at all-time highs after sweeping these two highs. So there's no draws higher. So I didn't want to look for longs unless we had a good retracement. So then I was just looking for a retracement and then continuing to long, or I was just seeing what price wanted to do if it wanted to go lower and reach into gaps. But I didn't get really any real entries to the up or down for real. And with my strategy, I mean this inverse. But nah, not for real. And it was just wasn't the best day for me. I didn't have any deep enough retracements to catch this long or deep enough retracement back to catch shorts or nothing like that. So we didn't take any trades today and we're still down on the eval account. But next week we're gonna try to get it up. I was week number 30. I'm trying to get my first payout from day trading at 17 years old. And we ended up blowing one account and then getting another account, ended up two losses down on that account. So basically same as last week, but worst off, I ain't gonna lie. But I'm not mad. At least we didn't like the last couple days we didn't force any trades. So like I see a little progress. Even though we losing, I see a little progress. But maybe I'm just delusional. I'm just hoping. I don't know. But the lesson I learned from this week is that I gotta stop taking trades out of fear of missing out and take trades that align with my strategy and stop trying to catch the bottom of the move. Because that's what I did a lot during this week, and you can see why we down so much. But that's the lesson I learned, and I'm definitely learning from it. I definitely backtest over the weekend. So next week, we should bring this little down 500 drawdown. We should bring it up and then hopefully pass it. But if not, we should be in profits. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you check out my other videos right here. And see y'all in the next one, man.